What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So let's get into this one. We're going to talk about the chief support to the main event, which was David Adeleye versus Jeamie TKV. These are two guys, as I mentioned in the preview video. They knew each other. They know each other well. Consider themselves friends, so they sparred loads of rounds together. And yeah, this was for the vacant British heavyweight title. And basically for me, going into this, the favorite was David Adeleye, because Adeleye looked like the more sort of powerful, more dynamic fighter. The guy that looks like he had the sort of bigger, or should I say higher ceiling in boxing. He just looked to have the better ability. But to be fair, this fight, as it started off, I would say that Jeamie TKV was sort of the more impressive guy overall in this fight. He opened the fight up doing exactly the right thing. Good straight jab. Good straight jab that comes from a position around the chest and straight up into Adeleye's face. And, to his credit, Jeamie TKV, up until the time of the fight ending, was pretty much winning most of the rounds. I had the feeling watching the fight, even while TKV, landing a good jab, boxing well behind the jab, throwing in a few right hands, but it was mainly just lead hand, and most of the rounds were, for me, in TKV's favor, simply because David Adeleye, he kind of just sat back and was looking to line TKV up for a big counter. But the thing was, that big counter for those first couple of rounds, the first sort of 5 rounds, that big counter he was looking for never arrived. It never came. So he was just there, sort of posing, posturing in the background, not really scoring any points. And in the meantime, Jeamie TKV's building up the points, just doing basics. I mean, TKV wasn't doing much, but it was just simple stuff. Jab, 1-2, doubling up the jab, pushing Adeleye back a little bit. And it was like, even the little mistakes TKV would make, sometimes leave himself a little bit open. Adeleye wasn't really capitalizing. So it was all kind of, you felt looking at it that, me watching Adeleye's fights before, I know that, yes, this guy's got the full potential to do something here. And I was thinking, well, if he turns it on, if he does something, if he actually throws punches here, then, he's got the potential to win this fight, to end it. But he simply wouldn't do anything, So he was letting the fight slip away from him by not really doing any work. Just a lot of it was just posturing and posing and, nothing really much thrown by Adeleye. So you had that contrast throughout the first part of the fight, of one man sort of working away, just doing basic, simple things and just winning the fight on the jab. Excuse me. And then as the fight progressed, Adeleye let his hands go a little bit around round 5, and, he showed he could sort of hurt TKV. But again, TKV goes back on the jab again and, threw some shots back of his own. And then where the controversy comes in now is at the ending, where we had Jeamie TKV and, again, working behind the jab. Adeleye, again, not doing very much. And then at a point, you had the two guys tied up. The TKV leans in and, they're kind of holding each other. And the referee says, break. And then he says, get your hand off. And he slaps Jeamie TKV's hand down. And as he's done that, let's say a split second after that, Adeleye comes over with, I think it was a big left hook, and then, puts Jeamie TKV down. And then the referee hesitates, and then he starts counting. And then TKV, to his credit to his toughness, he gets up and then he sort of, he goes through. But you can tell, even when TKV gets up, you can tell he's done. He's finished. He's got nothing left. He's just been, destroyed basically. So he gets up and then goes back. The referee allows him to fight on, and then, as you know, punches rain in from David Adeleye, left and rights, and he really explodes and lets his hands go, and that's it. Of course, TKV goes down again, and that's it. He gets up, but the referee waves off the fight. And for me, I suppose congratulations to David Adeleye, because you can't really blame the fighter, but I want to say very poor refereeing on behalf of the referee, because yes, the punch, it was punches that took him out, but that very first knockdown is very, very controversial, because the fact of the matter is the referee didn't just say break, he shouted break twice, and then he didn't really get in between the fighters. He just slapped Jeamie TKV's hand down, and I think that also, is another part of why TKV got knocked out, because he slapped his hand down, and then he basically gave David Adeleye a free shot. And David Adeleye, of course, he's a fighter. He's going to take the free shot. If the referee didn't really step between them and properly and break them properly, he didn't like put his hands between the fighters and separate them. He just called break twice, slapped TKV's hand down, and then that was it. Then he just left it, and then of course that was it. So I think this is one of those fights where, Adeleye was losing the fight, but his hands did the knockout. But at the same time, I think this is very controversial. It's one of those wins that will have a question mark over it, because the way in which he won was that Adeleye was given a free shot by the referee. And so while Jeamie TKV was relaxed with his hands down and he was defenseless basically, he's then taken a free shot off of Adeleye. And the person at fault here is the referee, because the fighter, if you're not stepping in between the fighters and you're not breaking them up properly, they're gonna throw punches. It could have been the other way around, where TKV hit Adeleye, maybe, and the same different result. But yeah, from my view, it's controversial. It's not really fair on Jeamie TKV, because he obeyed the instructions of the referee to break, and he relaxed, and then he gets caught. So yeah, it's controversial. The referee definitely needs to be reprimanded, and I think for me, Jeamie TKV's team have got grounds to appeal this decision, because of the fact that of what happened, that their fighter was hit with a free shot, and the referee showed some incompetence there. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section. Until next time, it's MKO Boxing, over and out.